Hey guys, I am making this video to help explain all the different methods of birth control that you looked at the other day in class. So I'm just going to start by saying that A through E all had one thing in common, and that is that they are barrier methods of birth control. And barrier methods of birth control make it so that the sperm and the egg never have a chance to meet. So the first one you looked at was A, and that is a male condom. These are also sometimes considered or known as outside condoms because they go on a part that is outside the body. And since not everybody who has a penis thinks of themselves as male, these are considered outside condoms instead of male condoms. But it's just the standard everyday condom that you're most used to seeing around. And they prevent the sperm from ever reaching the egg because the sperm cannot leave the condom itself and get inside the woman's vagina. So B was also a barrier, and this is what B looks like. B is an inside, or sometimes known as the female condom. And the way this one works is that it gets inserted into the vagina and actually kind of hangs outside the body like this. So this part of the condom would be covering the vulva, and then this piece gets squeezed. There's a little ring in here that gets squeezed and then has to be inserted into the vagina. And again, this part just sits outside the body and the penis goes inside that condom. These would be lubricated when they come out of the package, so they're not dry like this, and they're not latex. So people who are allergic to latex condoms can still use female condoms. So that is what B was. And again, it prevents the sperm from getting to the egg because the sperm can't get past the end of that condom as well. C is another barrier. C and C1 are both spermicides. And so spermicide is chemicals that kill sperm. So spermicide is the same, the term "icide" just means death. So suicide is killing yourself. Homicide is killing somebody else. Spermicide is killing sperm. And it's just really heavy chemicals in here that kill sperm cells. Spermicide is not meant to be used by itself. It is meant to be used with another barrier method like the diaphragm or something else that I'll explain in just a second. And so it works by killing the sperm so that sperm cannot get to the egg. This one is a foam that would get inserted into the vagina using this inserter. And then this one is a contraceptive film is what it's called. So it's spermicide that's in this tiny piece of film that gets folded up, inserted into the vagina, and then the vaginal fluids will actually activate the spermicide in this, and it'll turn it into the foam. But this is a slightly less messy version of the foam applicator. All right, so D is a contraceptive sponge. And the way this works is it's already filled with spermicide, and it gets run under some warm water to activate that spermicide. It gets squeezed just like this and inserted into the vagina. And then what it does is it sits at the base of the cervix, and it covers the cervix so that nothing can get past this into the uterus to meet an egg, but also because it's filled with spermicide, the sperm will all die inside of here. So that is D, it's a sponge. And then E is a diaphragm. And the biggest thing you need to know is that this diaphragm would not have a hole in it. The real ones are complete with no holes. This is just a demo. And this actually has to be fitted by a doctor. You have to go to a doctor and get sized for these things. But basically what you do with this is you fill the cup with spermicide, and then you squeeze so that it can get inserted into the vagina. And again, it sits at the base of the cervix like this. So that nothing is going to get past that diaphragm, and anything that does get past the diaphragm is going to get caught in the spermicide that's sitting in here. So that is a diaphragm. The last thing that was at the barrier tables but was not listed on your sheet is a dental dam, and that looks like this. Came in a package that had this insert. That's upside down. All right, so this is a dental dam, and it's not actually a contraceptive. It does not prevent pregnancy. What this does is it prevents the spread of STIs, and it is used for oral sex on a female. And so if this is the vulva, the dental dam just gets placed over the entire thing so that when performing oral sex on a female, the mouth never actually comes into contact with the vulva, and it helps reduce the risk of STIs spreading. All right, so then the next set of things from F all the way until J, those are hormonal methods of birth control. So what they have in common is that they all contain hormones that basically, at the most simple, they trick the body into thinking the female is already pregnant, and so she can't get pregnant again. So the first one that you saw on the table is the birth control pill. This is the most common hormonal method of birth control. And there were several different versions of it because depending on what kind you get, there's probably over 200 different kinds of pills. It's going to look like a different package, but they all basically work the same day, the same way. You take a pill every day, and it convinces your body that you're pregnant and that you won't get pregnant again. So just different versions of the same thing. Please know we'll go into lots more detail about all these versions next week. So that was F, the birth control pill. F1 that was on the table as well is the emergency contraceptive pill. And this works by preventing implantation. So if you have unprotected sex, this is for emergency use only. If you have unprotected sex, you can take the Plan B, and it will make it so even if an egg gets fertilized, it can't implant into the uterus. And so it does prevent implantation. But this is not an abortion pill. If a woman is already pregnant, the fertilized egg has already implanted into the uterus, this will not do anything to stop that pregnancy. The pregnancy will already be there and it will continue. So this is emergency contraception. So then G looked like this. So G is actually the contraceptive patch, and what this is another hormonal contraception that works just like the pill, tricks your body into thinking you're already pregnant, but instead of taking a pill every day, you slap this patch onto your arm or your back or someplace like that, and it slowly releases hormones for the entire week. And so for a month long, a girl would get 3 of these. First 3 weeks she'd wear the contraception, and then the last week she wouldn't, and that would give her her period. And then H looks like this, and this is the vaginal ring. And this is also a hormonal method of contraception that the hormones would actually be inside the ring. And again, the woman would squeeze this, insert it into her vagina. The ring is going to sit at the base of the cervix again, but it doesn't prevent sperm and egg from meeting. It's not a barrier. You can see that. Everything can get through here. This just slowly releases hormones into the body that are, again, the same as the pill, same as the patch, but this lasts for 3 weeks, so a 1-month supply of this birth control would be 1 ring. And it stays inside the vagina for up to 3 weeks and then gets removed. And when it gets removed, the girl will generally start her period. And then when her period is over, she puts a new one in for the next month. So that's another hormonal method of birth control. Letter I was this fake syringe. And this is supposed to represent the Depo-Provera shot. And the shot is another hormonal birth control that's just long acting. And so a girl will get a shot every 3 months, so 4 shots a year. And every 3 months she'll just get the shot that will slowly release hormones into her body for the next 3 months to prevent pregnancy. And then the last hormonal one that was on the table was J. And J looked like this. Another version of it is here. And what you're looking at actually is the hormonal implant. And this tiny little bar would get inserted underneath the skin on a woman's arm. And this will last up to 3 years, providing slow release hormones into the female's body. Again, works the same as the pill, the patch, the ring, the shot. All of them work the same with the same hormones. It's just how often you have to use it, change it, or think about it. And if you were at the table looking at one of these, this is just a representation of what it feels like underneath the skin. So again, it's this tiny bar that goes underneath the skin on a woman's arm to prevent pregnancy by slowly releasing hormones for about 3 years. The very last one was in a category of its own, and because it's not hormonal or barrier, and that is the IUD. And an IUD stands for intrauterine device. So what this is it's a little copper thing that sits inside the uterus. Some IUDs do have a small amount of hormones, but they don't work hormonally. That's not how they work to prevent pregnancy. What they actually do is they sit inside the uterus, just like this. Maybe this one is a better picture. They sit inside the uterus just like this, and sperm can still get past it, and eggs can still get past it, so it's not a barrier. It doesn't stop those two things from mating. It's not hormonal, so girl is still ovulating. All of that stuff is still happening. What happens with the IUD is this, it's like a monster under your comfortable bed. So if you just think about my analogy of everything inside the uterus being the comfy bed for the fertilized egg, this IUD is the scary monster under the bed that makes nobody want to sleep in that room. So if an egg does get fertilized, which is very possible when you have an IUD, that fertilized egg is going to travel down into here and it's going to say, my God, this is not a friendly or welcoming environment. I don't want to implant, and it won't. And so that is how an IUD works to prevent pregnancy. Thank you.